The iconic circuit of Maggiora is the venue for round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We're less than an hour's drive from the Italian capital, Milan, but despite its place in history as the place where the all-Honda American dream team of David Bailey, Rick Johnson and Johnny O'Mara completely dominated the 1986 Motocross des Nations, there have only ever been 6 Grand Prix staged here. The first of which, back in 1966, where the late Paul Friedrichs took the win on a CZ 500cc machine. And it wasn't until 1982 that we returned with the 250 class, where Kees van der Ven was victorious on a KTM. There have been 3 Italian victories: Alessandro Puzzar in 1990 on a 250cc Suzuki, Andrea Bartolini in 96 on a 250cc Yamaha, with Puzzar again winning in 97 on a 125 TM. But it was Pit Byra who was the last winner here in 99, riding a 250 Kawasaki. It's round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. This is the Italian Grand Prix.
The FIM World Motocross Championship enters its second half of the season this weekend in Maggiora, and whilst the temperature is expected to soar into the 30s for the GP of Italy, you can bet your bottom dollar we'll have the explosive racing to match. We'll also be celebrating Giuseppe Longo's 30th anniversary.
Well, on Saturday evening, Giuseppe Longo celebrated 30 years of promoting motocross events at the highest level, and it was this event here in 1986, the Motocross of Nations, that really put him on the map. Dinner was served at the top of the hill, poolside, overlooking the circuit, and guests from all over the place were invited, and he picked up some pretty nice gifts as well, and it was a nice way to spend the evening after a hard days of qualifying action.
Hello everybody, I'm Davide Guarneri, riding from Marchetti Racing. We are here, GP of Italy.
Hello, I'm David Philippers with the Honda Garibaldi team. I'm there to Maggiora, and you see my lap now. Ciao!
David Philippers and Davide Guarneri then get us underway around this Maggiora circuit. A little bit of old and new, the historic venue having a major revamp over the past couple of years. You can go wide around the first turn, double into turn 2, and then out of here, it's slightly uphill into turn 3. Then it's hard on the gas, hard and slick through there as well. Going to get very choppy and rutty as the weekend goes on, and you can triple on a 450 all the way to the top. Into the left-hander, the swimming pool just the other side of the bushes there, outside the restaurant, and it's down one of the steepest descents that you'll ever see on a motocross track anywhere in the world. Hard on the brakes at the bottom, 180, right-hand turn. Then uphill into the horseshoe, halfway up the hill that is, very, very steep. Steeper than it looks on TV, that's for sure. Drop back down to the side, through the fairly wide open right-hand turn, then uphill over O'Mara's Leap. The tabletop on the corner, made famous by the legendary Johnny O'Mara from that 1986 Motocross of Nations event. At the right-hand turn, over a single, before flicking it left through here, dropping downhill, and then over the Monster Energy tabletop jump. Just look at the upper body of David Philippers working there, the arms just soaking up all of the bumps as he comes down through the sweeping long left-hander, off-cambered through there, and then tightening up around about now. Going to be tricky through there as well. The ground surface changing slightly, not so stony, but definitely hard and slick through that next couple of corners. Over the Motul tabletop, the ground falling away then from right to left as they head over the Motul step down. And then over this nice uphill floating double jump that takes them down to the side of the valley through the uphill left-hander, very steep through there. On the gas, drop downhill, over the step down. Gets going to be pretty bumpy through there. Over a single, past the entry to pit lane, and then past pit lane itself through the left-hand turn. That'll take us over the Monster Energy finish line jump. When we land from there, we go right, then left, and we're back on the start straight to complete the lap. Just down on the start line here in Maggiora, getting ready to go out on the Monster Energy Yamaha experience. Basically me and a couple of other journalists given the opportunity to ride around this circuit on one of these Monster Energy MX2 machines. Dean Ferris, you're an MX2 rider. Got any tips for me how to get around here and what to expect?
Paul, you know how to ride. but you're retired now, so just take it easy because probably got a job to do tomorrow and do some commentating.
Yeah, I suppose that's the most important thing. Just while we're here, first impression of the track real quick.
Awesome. So far, probably the track of the year. I reckon it's got some really cool jumps. There's a lot of history here also, and I know a lot about it. So for me, it's exciting.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and maybe you can do the same for me right now.
Yeah, good luck, Paul.
Thanks. The last time I was here, I was racing the 125 Grand Prix back in 1997, so it was a pretty decent thing for Monster Energy Yamaha to give me the experience to ride around this circuit, and it was a good experience as well, I might add. Just done 3 laps in Majora, probably not enough really, but enjoyed it. A little bit different to what it was when I came here to race in 97 in the 125 GP, but the ground was a little bit dry today. It'll be perfectly prepped for the guys, and I'm sure they'll all be delighted with this track. It rides great, it looks great, the fans are going to love it as well, and I'm glad to be here. In qualifying, it was Alexander Tonkov on the Ester Motorsport Honda that was the winner there, from Dean Ferris, Jose Boutron and Jeffrey Hurlings, but Moto number 1 saw Alex Tonkov storm into the lead from Jose Boutron and Jeffrey Hurlings as the rest of the riders filed up behind them. Boutron was soon through though after a mistake from Tonkov, and he had to go back after the Spaniard. Jeffrey Hurlings was down in 4th at this stage behind Dean Ferris. Jordi Tixier started in around about 6th place and stayed there for about half the moto actually, before picking off Dean Ferris and Christophe Charlier to eventually come home in 4th. But Jeffrey Hurlings, though, was soon on the charge. He carved his way up the inside of Alexander Tonkov to move into 2nd position. And then, of course, he had his eyes set firmly on the number 17 of Jose Boutron. Eventually, he went through on around lap 10 of 21 laps in this MX2 race, and he would go on to seal the victory. But Jose Boutron and Jake Nichols also having great rides. Alexander Tonkov actually got himself back into 2nd with a couple of laps to go, but then he threw it all the way on the finish line, and his bike went through over the line without the rider on it. And unfortunately for him, he was knocked out of that 3rd place and did not score. Alessandro Lupino, he found a way past Mel Pocock and then Dean Ferris in consecutive laps, and the Italian suddenly found himself in 6th place but was promoted to 5th after Tonkov had his problems through that final corner of the battle, and that was the moment that he crashed, and the officials deemed him not on the bike when the flag fell. Hurlings won race 1. For MX1, it was Gauthier Paulin who was victorious in the qualifying session from Tommy Searle, Ken Dyker, Max Nagel and Xavier Borg. But in Moto number 1, it was Tony Cairoli that edged out everybody to pick up the Get Athena Holeshot Award. It was pretty wet after a load of water went down at the start of the moto, catching 1 or 2 riders out in the process. But Tony Cairoli tried to make a break from Commander Sal and Ken Dyker. But it wasn't to last long, his lead at the front, because Cairoli then found himself slipping off and dropping down to 4th place in the left-hander over on the far side of the circuit. De Sal went through, so too did Ken Dyker and Kevin Strybos on the 2nd of the Rockstar Energy Suzukis. Davide Guarneri and Tommy Searle decided to play a little game of tag. Both riders went sprawling down to the deck. They were running in 7th and 8th position on the first lap. Cairoli, though, found himself going back after Kevin Strybos, got himself into 3rd. Guarneri, meanwhile, was fighting hard through the field. David Philipparts had a big crash in qualifying, and this little slip was one moment too many for the guy who lives about 10 kilometres from here. Not what he wanted in his home Grand Prix, quite literally. But Ken Dyker was having a solid ride for Red Bull KTM. He was in 2nd position, but Ken Dyker couldn't do anything about Commander Sal. His teammate Kevin Strybos started to drop down. Tony Cairoli made another mistake, allowing Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Gauthier Paulin to find a way through. Paulin pulled an impressive scrub whip off the tabletop that almost saw him crashing out. Cairoli eventually found his way into 4th, but it was Commander Sal who won Moto number 1.
Across 3 rounds of the championship, we're going to be putting a few of our GP riders through their paces in the kitchen in a bid to become the 2030 Moto Chef. But first, let's meet our judges. That's the judges taken care of. Now let's meet the riders. Gautier, Bobby, Tony, how are you guys feeling ahead of this challenge?
Just something really different. I think we're gonna enjoy and we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, it's really like new challenging and it's fun, something different to have a competition.
Especially a cooking competition, it's normally for a girl thing, but we try to do our best.
Okay guys, let's go inside. Bobby, tell me about your dish.
Yeah, just traditional salad, which is we always use for the party or the New Year. It's really famous salad because it cannot be the New Year cannot be without this salad. So it's really traditional, and in Europe it's called Russian salad. So that's what I'm cooking now.
Tony, you're looking very calm. What's your dish today?
It's just a simple bruschetta with some carpaccio of fish on top and something easy, nothing too difficult. You know, the Italian cuisine is pretty simple and good, so hopefully it's gonna be nice.
Gautier, tell me what dish you've chosen.
I'm too concentrated. If I continue like this with the pressure, I will have arm pump and then tomorrow I can't try it anymore. Or then I stay wide open on the downhill.
Okay, chefs, your time is up. The final plates have been presented to the judges, so let's see what the final scores are.
Good tasting, good presentation, very beautiful color, and I like so much the mint. Yes, good decoration, very beautiful plate for me. Much Mediterranean, like sour and like color. It's very good, like flour, very Mediterranean.
This is insalata russa,
Classic of kitchen, and some vegetables with mayonnaise and a little bit of chicken. Fresh flour, good balance for flour and for color. Yeah.
Poulain and Tony.
For me, two Poulain the first and Tony Cairoli second place.
The winner, Poulain.
Poulain the win.
Bravo Poulain.
So there we have it. Gautier Paulin wins round 1 of the Moto Chef competition, but can Tony Cairoli or Evgeny Bobryshev strike back at the next round with something special for the main course? Find out in Germany.
Well, we are very satisfied so far. You know, Jeffrey's in the lead, almost undefeated season, and Jordi Tixier is second in the World Championship. Overall, we are very, very happy. I'm still very impressed with Jeffrey. You know, he's been very strong. Of course, Tommy Searle moved up to the MX1 class, so the competition dropped a bit for him. But still, if I see him, you know, off the GPs, how he's training and how he's still preparing and how focused he is to try and still be the best and even, you know, faster and faster. And he's not happy with 1 minute in front, but it needs to be 1.5 minutes. He's checking lap times between MX1 and MX2, so he's still very motivated, and I'm very happy to see that, and that's why he's also still so good and so fast and almost undefeated this season.
I always want to win, and the larger lead, the better it is for me. So I'm always pushing myself for new goals, and obviously, yeah, I've been winning every GP till now, and as I said, I just keep on charging and you know, try to keep on winning, and that's what I'm working for, and I'm always pushing myself to the limit. And we're halfway the season right now, and still won every single overall. So I already did 50% of the work, and the other 50 is still yet to come. So try to yeah, keep on this pace and keep on winning, and then hopefully till the end of the year be undefeated in my overalls at least. It's awesome to work with him. You know, he's a 10-time world champ, and you know, he goes a lot of respect from me and from all the paddock. I think when you win 10 championships, you're a big man in the sport, and he really knows what the sport is about and how to get to the front of the pack. And I think also thanks to him, I'm where I'm at now. You know, we've been working together for 5 years now, so yeah, it's been a hell of a journey, but you know, we've made our way through, and it's lovely to work with him, as I said, and try to win as much titles as possible. And we already did one last year, and we're together working on the second title this year.
He's been doing some podiums. I believe that he can more regularly can do the podiums, and you know, he still needs to become a bit more stable, a little bit more consistent, but I can see overall that his progress compared to last year is still going up, and there are still, of course, many things for him to learn, and that's also my ambition with him, to try and get him even more stronger towards the end of this season, and you know, to be really ready for next season, and maybe think about going in a battle with Jeffrey.
For the moment, I feel pretty good. The first 2 GP was pretty difficult for me, and I was struggling a little bit, some crash, and for the 3rd GP, we speak much with Stefan and Pete and my father and everybody, and I felt much better on the bike, and Valkenswaard I finished 2 times second, so it was pretty good. And since the GP, everything is going well. Almost every podium, every race, so that's my goal for the moment. For sure the goal is to be world champion for 2014, but I don't put the pressure on myself for the moment. I keep riding for the moment like this, and I prefer to finish the season like I do now, and we will think later for 2014, but for sure I think already in my head what I can do in 2014, and if I can have the title, it's gonna be just amazing for me, because it's a dream till I'm like this, so young, and if I can have one title one time in my day, it's gonna be an amazing day.
After an exciting first race, the 40,000 strong crowd here at Maggiora wanted even more. And with Alessandro Lupino coming out of the first turn in 2nd position, they thought they were about to get something special. But it was Alexander Tonkov who once again made the whole shot on the Ester Motorsports Honda. Jeffrey Hurlings on the Rebel KTM was in 2nd, with Lupino in 3rd, Boutron 4th, Britt Ratset got a good start in 5th, and Jordi Tixier found himself in 6th ahead of the 2 Monster Energy Yamahas of Mel Pocock and Christophe Charlier. Jake Nichols was just behind them in 9th on the opening lap. But as the race went on, Max Anstey found himself going out early after a big crash in the opening stages. He wouldn't pick up any points in this 2nd race. He crashed just coming up here. Britt Ratset was doing a good job of holding on to a decent position, but further up front, actually, he was split by the 2 Monster Energy Yamahas. Charlier going through, and then Mel Pocock looking for a way through as well. And Charlier was one of the fastest guys on track, working his way up into 6th in pretty rapid succession. Hurlings found himself leading. Alexander Tonkov tried his best to stay on the rear wheel of the current championship leader. Lupino was having a great ride in 3rd as well, though. Boutron was in 4th, but Tixier was on the charge as well. Eventually coming through to 4th position, around about the 3rd mark distance. Dean Ferris had a moment, got himself unseated, and Charlier found his way through. That put him into 6th place. Ferris then dropped down to 7th. Lupino on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki was on the charge. The fans loved every minute of it as well. And he didn't want to disappoint. And with 2 laps to go, he found himself on the rear wheel of Alexander Tonkov. He couldn't go up the inside. He had to make the long way round. But he wasn't going to get through at turn 1. So he stalked his prey, and then around the back end of the circuit, Tonkov made a mistake and Lupino was through. And at that stage, second in the moto was good enough to get him third overall in the Grand Prix, and the crowd knew it as well. Question was, could he do the right thing and keep it up on 2 wheels? Well, Jeffrey Hurlings cruised to his second race victory, his 9th career victory in a row this season. And Alessandro Lupino did come home in second place ahead of Alexander Tonkov, which meant the overall was Hurlings, Boutron and Lupino, with Tixier Nichols rounding out the top 5. Championship, Jeffrey Hurlings just dropping 3 points so far this year, but Charlier moved up to 4th at the expense of Glenn Coldenhoff, who had an off weekend here in Italy. Paolo Schneider, one of the organisers here, handing Jeffrey Hurlings his winner's trophy, and Dr. Wolfgang Schrub handing him another red plate as he continues to lead after the Italian Grand Prix. MX1 race 2, the 40,000 strong crowd here. One result and one result only. Tony Cairoli to stand on the top step of the podium. He had a tough first moto, but he made a decent start. But rumour had it that he was riding with a slight niggle to the left knee after a crash in a first moto. Gauthier Paulin, though, making light work of everybody at the start, as Billy McKenzie crashed on the opening lap, riding a Monster Energy Yamaha as a wild card this weekend. But Gauthier Paulin took the whole shot and tried to make a break for it up the front of the field. Xavier Borg was in second position. Tony Cairoli and his teammate Ken de Dijker almost went down at the top of the hill. Eventually de Dijker went through. Cairoli then dropped down to 4th. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was looking menacing as well in 5th place. De Dijker eventually found a way past Xavier Borg on the Ice One Racing KTM, and that put him into second place. Xavier Borg was in 3rd, and soon he was caught by Tony Cairoli. The 2 touched wheels, and that left Xavier Borg on the deck. The Frenchman would eventually come home in 9th. No such problems though for number 21, Gauthier Paulin on the factory Kawasaki. But soon, Tony Cairoli put the pain to the back of his mind, found a way up the inside of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, and that put him into 3rd place, and then he went after his teammate, Ken de Dijker. So the 2 Red Bull KTMs know exactly what they had to do. Ken de Dijker eventually moved aside and let Cairoli set about the challenge of going after Gauthier Paulin for a possible race win. At this stage of the moto, he wasn't even on the podium in the overall Grand Prix. Commander Sal was in a decent position in 5th place. And Cairoli was relying on either Tommy Searle to close in, who was in 7th, or a mistake from the Suzuki rider. Well, 4 laps to go. The Sal's machine suffered a problem and he did not finish the race. But Tony Cairoli went after Gauthier Paulin. The crowd were on their feet. It was like being in a football stadium. Gauthier Paulin, though, eventually started to pull away from Cairoli. The 2 did have a moment where they did bang bars coming out of the 3rd corner with about 2 laps to go. The crowd thought that Cairoli was going to go through. But in the end, it was Gauthier Paulin who withstood the pressure and came over the line to take the win and the overall Grand Prix victory. Cairoli was 2nd in the race, de Dijker was 3rd, Van Hoorbeek 4th, and Tommy Searle was 5th. And the overall Grand Prix was Paulin, de Dijker, Cairoli. Tony Cairoli saw his lead cut by Paulin's victory this weekend. De Sal lost a lot of ground on Cairoli and Paulin. He'll be looking forward to getting to Sweden, where he was a double race winner last year. But for Gauthier Paulin, it was his 3rd victory of the season in MX1. But Tony Cairoli continues to lead the championship after the halfway stage.
Well, that's the end of an absolutely stunning Grand Prix here in Italy. And if we didn't think we could surpass the battles of France, we certainly didn't disappoint here today. Tony Cairoli and Gautier Paulin exchanging home Grand Prix wins. And in MX2, Alessandro Lupino not disappointing any of the home fans here today as he picks up his second career podium. We'll be back in Sweden.